Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening, good evening to another beautiful Saturday night. So as promised, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a fruitful, entertaining show tonight. Informative, educational. You know, every time I come to this show, I like to bring it that way. So, we are live tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Live, direct into your homes. So you know what I like to say? Call your friends, your neighbors, your brother, your sister, and especially tonight, anyone that you know that might be in the transportation business, or you yourself or anyone that you know that might have a major concern or complaint about the transportation service in the country. Ground transportation we're now focusing on tonight. Not ferry service, not airline service, but just ground transportation, taxi, livery, shuttle, tours, you know, anything that relates to that. If you always had those concerns, those burning issues, and you always wanted to get the right answers, and you didn't feel like I was able to provide that for you, I got the right people in house tonight. So please, do what you need to do. Kick back, relax, get your pen and pencil out, ladies and gentlemen, because sometimes, you know, you guys have these burning questions and you forget what they are because you get so caught up in the conversation. So, which is good because, you know, it's spontaneous and it's good. But we want you to be focused. We want you to have those questions that you always had and you always wanted to get the right answer, to those questions. So please write your answers down, and then whenever the phone numbers go up, you know what to do. Call me, text me, do what you need to do so you can get your questions answered. So in studio tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I told you guys a few weeks ago, our focus tonight is on transportation, but you know, they speak your mind. If you guys have something else you want to speak your mind about, I know there's a lot of other issues out there that are just as important. We got mosquito issues going on in the country. We've seen conversation now online about delays in our cruise ship development, land-based side. We've seen all kinds of new changes in our laws that, you know, relates to prisoners, you know, being able to apply for parole after they serve 4 or more years. We see changes in the laws that now giving men the same rights as women to approach the magistrate or the judge or the court system for child support. Those are big issues, I know. We may not get to any of those tonight because you're going to call and you're going to let these guys know how you feel about some of us taxi guys. I'm one of them. I always try my best to do the best that I can do. I always try to open the door, especially for the ladies, not the men. The men can help themselves, but, you know, I do my best to serve everybody. But there are concerns. We know that, I know that, you know that. You know, we have a lot of different issues to talk about when it relates to transportation. So if you have those burning issues, you got those burning questions that you always wanted to get it out there, now's your chance. I remember just a couple weeks ago, and I hope that young lady's watching. I was down at Waterfront Taxi the other day, and we were having a stimulated conversation, and the lady said, you know, what you taxi guys need is you need a body where people can complain to. They can, you know, voice their concern. I said, madam, but we do. She said, really, where? I said, we have a taxi livery commission. We have a commissioner. We have a board, you know, that controls and manage the taxi commission. So we do have those mechanisms in place. They've been in place for a number of years now, and the guys are trying their best to do what they need to do to fix the industry, to make sure that you, the people who patronize our business, who support our business, who depend on us, and who we depend on. Remember, it's a two-way street. We depend on you just as much as you depend on us. We need you more than you need us. So we want to make sure that those people, you know who they are, you know how to get a hold of them, and you know how to start complaining on me, especially when I'm doing a really good job. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, in studio tonight, don't mind my blackout. You know my situation. Sometimes the light is a little bright, and I got to dim it down a little bit. So I'll be looking kind of cool up here tonight next to my good friend, Mr. Damien Percival. So please help me welcome Mr. Percival. He's in studio tonight. Damien, say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
All right, remember you're live, Damien, so whatever you say, the people are going to take you seriously. So, in studio, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Damien Percival, Taxi Livery Commissioner of the BVI, right? Damien?
Director of the Taxi and Livery Commission.
Director of the Taxi and Livery Commission, Mr. Damien Percival. So again, we're going to have a little conversation. You know, we're going to open it up so you guys can get a little feedback and get a little background and some information on what it's all about. And then again, when we open up the phone lines, feel free to call him and pose your question to him. Or if there's anything else that is pressing that you really want to get out there, you know, feel free to call or text on those as well. So, Damien, tell the people, what is the Taxi Commission? What is it all about?
Well, first I'd like to say thanks for inviting us to the show so we can help to educate the people as to what exactly is the Taxi and Livery Commission, what our responsibilities are, and what in general is taxi and livery service in the Virgin Islands. The Taxi and Livery Commission is a board that was established. The law was actually established back in 1997 to regulate the transportation for hire industry, the service mechanism of it. As we know, we have the DMV, which regulates the vehicle aspect to make sure that the vehicles are roadworthy. The government of the day saw fit to put a body in place to work with the DMV to make sure that this extremely important aspect of the transportation industry is regulated, because as we know, it's a very vital component to our tourism product. So with that in place, the Taxi and Livery Commission actually make recommendations to the minister as to the development of the transportation for hire industry. That's one of our main focuses. We also deal with complaints on operators, whether from the taxi or delivery side of it. We also get a lot of comments on the operators when they've done good jobs.
Like myself. Thank you.
Yes, like yourself.
Thank you.
So the role of director is basically to manage the office. The commission itself is a structured board of 9. It used to be 7, but in the last year we lobbied to have 2 new commissioners added, which is the commissioner of the DMV and the commissioner of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, as these are 2 important entities we have to work hand in hand with to make sure that this industry is properly regulated. We have a chairman, Mr. Troy Christopher. We have a member, Mr. Rashid, who represents taxi operators throughout the main island. We have Mr. Sanford Flax, who represents operators from the sister islands, Anegada, Virgin Gorda, Just Van Dyke, wherever taxis operate. We have Ms. Foy, Ms. Darcus Foy. She represents the livery side of it, which comprise of the bus service, the shuttle service, limousine service. We have a representative from the tourist board, because as you know, it's a very important component of the tourism product. And we have a representative from the BVI Ports Authority, because again, you know, with the cruise industry and the important role of taxi at the cruise pairs.
Definitely. So I guess at the end of the day, we got a lot of people representing the different islands. So sister islands, first of all, let me get to you. He just said we have a representative.
Yes.
That's supposed to represent the sister islands. So all you guys out there in Anegada, Just Van Dyke, and Virgin Gorda, you have a lot of concerns and you wonder who to call. There's somebody on the board that you can call. What's that name again?
Mr. Sanford Flax.
Mr. Sanford Flax. Brother Flax out of Virgin Gorda. I'm sure tonight, at the end of tonight, you can get the numbers that you can contact Mr. Flax if you have concerns in those sister islands. We also have somebody from the tourist board. He hasn't named someone there, but we know there's probably somebody who understands the tourism industry and works very well with the transportation. So again, and it ain't just about taxiing now, it's about you, the consumers as well. That's why it's important for you guys to take this on tonight, because I know a lot of you out there, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you have a lot of concerns. You have a lot of different issues. And again, the person responsible who puts a lot of work in and a lot of effort into trying to satisfy the industry so all parties are satisfied in their daily lives is here with me tonight. So don't let me down. Call, whatever it is. If it's a complaint, complaints are good because all we can do is take those complaints and try to rectify them and do the best that we can do to fix them. All right. So we know what the Taxi Commission is. It's a body. It's there to help regulate the industry. What else do people need to know before we take a quick break?
Well, you can reach the commission. We have an office established. It's right now located at Parkwood Pond upstairs, the DMV, or you can reach us via telephone. The main line is 468-4090. That will get you directly in contact with the commission. Or you can email us at tlc@gov.vg, TLC, Taxi Livery Commission, @gov.vg. Share with us your complaints. We have a mechanism how we deal with complaints. Or share with us just your thoughts, what you think would help the industry to improve, what, comments you may have in terms of, things the operators can do better, that kind of stuff.
All right, good. So we're going to take a quick break. When we take that break and then we come back from the break, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open up the lines early tonight. You know how I like to do it. I want to be up here all night by myself. Depending on how you guys take this on, we're going to turn him loose in an hour or we're going to keep him for the whole show. If you want him, we're going to keep him. If you don't want him, we're going to turn him loose because it is your show. It is Speak Your Mind, right? So, hope you got your questions written down. Hope you got your comments written down. I hope you're ready and all fired up. Tonight, first half of the show is all about transportation. It's about taxiing, busing. It's about the limo service. It's about shuttle service. It's about tour service. You guys got your complaints all the time. You got your concerns about those things. You want answers. I got some questions myself. So if you don't help me with the conversation, trust me, I can keep it going. But I want you to help me with the conversation, whatever it is. Call us, let us know. Text us, let us know. Mr. Damian Percival is in studio tonight. I promise you guys that we're going to bring somebody from that sector. We had people calling from all the way in New York the other day because he was concerned when he came through the ferry terminal. He has to sit there and wait for a taxi to get up and go because he feels he's a hired cab. He's hiring a cab. He's a hired fare. And he should be able to just go, depending on whatever the fare is, he'll pay the fare. Those are legitimate concerns. So if you have any of those on your table, call us and let us know. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's all your show.
Last left turn,
Virgin, the directions I got to go straight.
Oh, you going to tell me about them stupid directions when the map is right here?
Let me see the map. Let me see the map.
So now you want to see the map?
Give me the map, man.
Alright.
No, pass here, sorry.
Make a right, go 100 meters, and that's the destination.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from getting lost. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
Right Way Food Markets introduces Family Favorites, giving you all your family needs for less. Shop Right Way Food Market's Family Favorites and start counting your savings in all Right Way stores. Unlimited savings on Kraft Mac and Cheese, 7.25 ounces, 99 cents. Kraft American Cheese Singles, 16 ounces, $4.49. Dasani Purified Water, 20 ounces, 79 cents. Nabisco Cream of Wheat, 28 ounces, $5.69. Find hundreds of Family Favorites like that through the stores. Also available at Fine Foods and Harbor Market. When you shop for your family, buy only the best with Family Favorites. Everything you need for less.
Littering is a criminal offense under the Littering Abatement Act. Our litter wardens and police officers are hunting for litterers. You will be caught when you least expect. Litterers are subject to a $500 fine or 3 months in prison. Stop littering in our country. You are hurting our environment and you are hurting our economy.
Hi there. Welcome to Botanic Service Station, your #1 soul gas fill-ups in the British Virgin Islands. Try our delicious hot wings or pizza with your favorite toppings, made fresh every day. Try it. I know you'll love it.
Need a cold drink? We have the widest variety, the cheapest and coldest in town.
Just a friendly reminder, we have a wide range of vehicle maintenance products.
Oils, coolant, batteries, air fresheners, and our #1 product, Soul Gas. The best gasoline that will take you further and keep your engine running cleaner. Do you love to cook? We have your LPG right here for your convenience. Open from 7 a.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. Chances are you'll be stopping by the Botanic Service Station today. So just grab a cold drink while you're there.
What kind of party this?
Then they bring the music.
Seriously?
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from party disasters. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So yeah, thanks for that text just now about my sunshades. You know, again, sometimes the light inside the studio is a bit bright, so I got to put those shades on, you know, to keep the sunlight out of my eyes. But again, in studio tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Damien Percival. He's in charge of the taxi livery, bus services, limo services, taxi services throughout the territory. You know, I know a lot of you guys have some questions related to the whole transportation thing in the BVI. So whatever your questions are, whatever your concerns are, please give me a call, let him know, ask the question that you need to ask tonight, whatever it is. If you have a situation or you had a situation, you know, you came to the airport and you felt like you were mistreated, you didn't get the service that you thought you should have gotten, you know what I mean? You whatever it is, give us a call. So while we wait on your call, while I wait on your text, Damien, one of the biggest concerns people have, we have buses that run between East and West End. Mm-hmm. We see vehicles that say bus on them, and then we see guys with minivan, taxi plate, zooming in front of them, picking people up, dropping them East End for $3. What is the difference between the two?
The difference between the two is this. There's legitimate taxi, and as part of the delivery service, there's bus. The regulations that speak to the bus, the official bus that you see that carry the B plates, the bus plates, that is actually running on behalf of the government. That is regulated by the government. The pricing structure is set by the government. The bus stops are put in place by the government. The schedule is done by the government. What you're speaking about is we have taxi guys who saw the need, I guess, some years ago to, instead of just provide taxi service for visitors, provide a service for local persons. And what they did is they choose to, instead of charging the rate that we would charge the tourists, they decide, well, since we're going to run the local people, we'll give the local people a break. And that is something that has grown. That is something that we have to look at carefully as to how we're going to deal with it and move forward.
Okay. So either way, we're talking about taxiing,
right,
operating like a bus. pretty much interfering with legitimate bus that you said is sanctioned by the government. But they saw the need to help the industry. But we have buses. And I think we should make it clear to people that if you want a legitimate bus, it should say bus, not a taxi. Don't flag a taxi down and then expect that every taxi is operating within the same manner. Should we make that distinction, or should we just allow whatever is happening and say it's fine? You know, I mean, as a person in charge to help regulate the industry, taxiing has a certain way to operate, and bus have a certain way to operate, does it not?
That is true. The bus service is extremely limited. It is, by law, it's mandated that bus stop at bus stops, number one. They're not supposed to pick up persons carrying luggage, carrying groceries, carrying pets, and that kind of stuff. They're not supposed to take people to their doors, that kind of stuff. Whereas the taxi has the flexibility to basically stop anywhere except a bus stop. The only time a taxi is supposed to stop on a bus stop is when it's hailed. What persons need to understand is the significant difference is this. The plates, a taxi plate that spells out taxi, T-A-X-I, and then the following number, that is a legitimate taxi. They're supposed to stop when you hail them. That can collect your groceries, take you to the supermarket that you shop. They can pick you up if you have luggage, can pick you up, you know, depend on the driver, if he allow pets and eating and that kind of stuff in his vehicle, whereas the bus service can't.
Okay.
That can take you directly to your door.
Okay. And like you said, it's all within the law. I mean, we're talking about something it ain't just we saying it, it's in the law. Taxis are governed by the laws.
Yes.
Buses governed by the laws. And I think people, again, need to understand there's a difference.
There's a significant difference.
A bus, a vehicle that marked bus, that's supposed to pick you up on a bus stop,
yes,
drop you off on a bus stop.
Yes.
Versus a guy who's hustling, he's driving a taxi plate, he's operating in a manner of a bus, he's picking you up with your luggage, he's dropping you outside of your realm, and he's, in some cases, charging you the same fare as what a bus operator would be charging. There are also guys, legitimate taxi operators, who are operating as taxis and charging according to the tariff. So people, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand the difference. So we want to make it clear, if there's a problem, a situation that arises, you cannot complain or argue with a taxi guys if he said it's $9 to go to East End or $15 to go to East End, because he is a taxi. If you want a bus, make sure it says bus, B-U-S, on it. Is that?
Well, that is true, Sam. What the motoring public can know is this. Like we said, some people have been doing this service for over 20 years because there was a need. The bus service just came on the stream.
Yeah.
So there was a legitimate need.
Yeah.
What the tariff does is it gives the taxi the flexibility, and the law, it gives the taxi flexibility to perform other duties, even livery duties, right? So what these guys did, like I said earlier, is they realized we're moving the domestic people. These are people who don't go to the cruise pair, don't go to the ports of entry. They just move the domestic people back and forth, you know, not on any set schedule or anything like that. But the hours when they know people going to school, when they know people going to work, when people are probably going for lunch on a little break, that kind of stuff. So they're actually providing a service. I think where the complication is we would have to look at the industry and see if we have to now fit them under a different category as taxi.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's something that you have to work out along with the government. But in the meantime, I think we should be clear with the consumer, with the public,
right?
So they are not confused. Because we find that there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of debates, a lot of arguments when you drive in a taxi and you get someone that flags you down, and it's right in Road Town, and you charge according to the tariff $5, and somebody said, well, the last guy only charged me $2, and he was driving a taxi. I think it's sending us a mixed message to the public, and as the people responsible for making sure that the public has clear, uninterrupted information, I think we need to really get on top of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have choices. According to what the gentleman said, there's flexibility in the taxis operation. Some of the guys you guys know, the ones who travel between East End and Road Town, and now people traveling to West End. You know who the regular folks are who pick you up, drop you off. They only charge you $3 or $4. You know who they are, but at the end of the day, they are taxis. They're not bus. They are taxis providing that type of service. So please don't mix up the two between a guy who's stationed at a taxi association, who's sitting there, who's governed by the taxi tariff. When it says it's $20, it's $20. If that's not what you want, then always find a bus stop. Find that position where you can get the type of service you want and pay the price that you want to pay. All right, and that way we can move that forward. So obviously the fare, Damien, moving right along, the fares you said that relates to bus. It is in law, correct?
Not the current fare that speaks to the bus or any livery service.
Okay.
One of the next things we're looking at is there a need for a tariff for the livery side of the business? So what we have is there's a tariff that regulates the taxi, and that tariff says a taxi can charge no more than this. It doesn't say anything about minimum. It says the taxi can charge no more than this to go from point A to B or C or wherever. Right? So there's a tariff that regulates the taxi. So currently what happens is persons...
All right, hold that thought real quick. Let's just see what the caller has to say. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Talk to us.
Yes, I think I'm listening to the program, and I think what is happening right now is just a recipe for confusion.
All right, talk a little bit louder for me. You said what you think is happening right now is just a lot of confusion.
Yes, it is, because when you look at, when I stop a taxi, and I'm expecting to pay $3, and there's nothing wrong with the guy saying, okay, you have to pay $10 because that's a tariff. I think the time is right that we review this whole thing and put a structure in place. The guys who are running the route should have maybe a different number plate or something different on their buses.
Absolutely.
I mean, again, you have to look at the culture of the people. People are accustomed to stop a taxi, they take them to the door, because gentlemen are saying that the guys who run the buses are not allowed to take people with groceries and so on. So he has to look at the cultural issue of it as well, because when you're going to involve change, you have to look at what people will accept as well, because it's a very important issue. Because today I could stop one guy and he charged me $3. Tomorrow I stop the same guy and he might be in a mood, hey, let me go according to the tariff. So where are we going?
Yeah.
You know, so I think, Mr. President, it's time that we address it, because if you say the buses are not allowed to take groceries, then you're disrupting the culture of the people, and it's very important. Okay?
Very good, very good. Damien, you want to address that?
Well, first thing I want to address the last point he made. He spoke about the taking groceries, and I want to again clarify that. The bus service, the one that has the B, I think right now it's from bus 0 to bus 9. The buses are not permitted by law to take persons with groceries, because the bus is supposed to be the public transportation. If you get on the bus and you have 4 or 5 bags of groceries, you can actually disrupt other passengers on the bus. What happened is with taxi, and when the law was written for taxi, as to what we recall back in 1993, the taxi was to provide a chartered service. This is why I know right now we read where persons complain that they'll be on the road and they try to stop a taxi and the taxi doesn't stop. What persons need to understand is when the law was written, it was to give taxi a chartered service. They collect someone from point A, take them to point B. If someone actually calls the taxi stand and say, listen, I would like a taxi from Lower Estate to West End, that taxi is now chartered by that person. In order for the taxi to pick up someone else, they have to get permission from that person. That's
Okay.
how the taxi operates. Whereas the bus is to move the higher volume of people at the lower cost.
Yeah, I think the caller also have a legitimate point. I think he's simply saying, at this point, no, in our development, we should regulate. If you have a group of people who you said it yourself, who saw the need to provide a particular type of service. Because the bus service wasn't available. It wasn't regulated. It wasn't part of what we have. No, but we have a bus. It's sanctioned by the government, and we have guys who are basically driving a taxi, operating in a manner of a bus. It is confusing for the traveling public. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Hi, good evening. Talk to us.
Yes,
Hi.
your topic tonight is dealing with is about the taxi, right?
Yes.
But I have another question. It's not concerning the taxi. Can I say it?
Yes, of course. It is speak your mind.
Okay. Listen, I want to know if there is a law in Tortola say that if you purchase a piece of land, you have to test the land, the soil. They tell you that the soil is not capable of building. Okay? I know of someone who bought a piece of land, but it's like it's a lot of land, right? So that person have, I don't know if it's a square or what, take out of that parcel of land, and then they told the person that they cannot build on the land because the soil is not, the soil is.
Who told them that? The person who sold them the land?
I'm getting to that, Sam.
Okay.
Tell them that they cannot build on the land because the soil is not good for building. And this land is not close to the road, it's in the country. It has a nice view, we could overlook the ocean. She was told that if she even go ahead and get the plan, it will not pass by
disaster management?
Yeah, they will not pass because it has to come to them.
Okay.
So I want to know if it's a law in Tortola, you could test the soil to know you cannot build on the house, and you have other land surround it, and they don't have any problem, but that particular person with that piece have a problem.
So let me ask you before you go, is there other houses close to the piece of parcel that this person bought?
No houses that they are.
There's nobody there.
One house, but that is way down below.
Do you know if the person who purchased the land, the person they bought the land from, did they tell them there was a problem with the land in building anything on the land?
No, but there was no problem.
You didn't tell them there was no problem?
There's no problem.
Okay. The best approach to that is go to a land registry or the physical planning department. You can get a survey of the land. You can ask them, particularly if there's any issues with the type of landscape on the land, because I know there were some new changes and amendment in the law. I know, for example,
because the CBA told the person that's what happened. Even though the land on CBA, she get our land, the person, do you understand?
Yeah.
That's what the CBA told the lady, that they cannot,
well,
the land is not capable of to build on.
There might be some.
I'm trying to say some. It's a parcel of land. Why is it only that particular spot is not capable of building? The soil is not good.
Well, let me try to answer this way so we can have a better understanding. Sometimes I know for a fact, like there was some new regulation that say if your land has a stream, a natural stream, or it has, let's say, a lot of trees that helps protect the soil and stop it from erosion. A lot of those things are a limitation in what you can do, yes, on the land. And that's why it's important for people, before you go purchase and pay for any kind of land anywhere around Tortola, is to get a clear understanding. Get your survey done first, go to land registry and check out the parcel, see if there's any restriction on the area. So there could be some truth to what that person is telling that other person. Without actually seeing the land, talking to the experts, I don't know. But if they purchase that land without that understanding, to me, sometimes that's a bit deceptive.
Okay, Sam, another question. But if I was saying, if one piece of the land have a problem, why the next part of beside that land, no problem?
Well, how big is the land?
I want to know.
Is the land pretty big?
Oh yes.
Well, then, just talk to some smart people. Talk to some smart people. If they say it has to pass through disaster management, that could be part of the new Physical Planning Act, because people like that would have to get involved because of where the land is, the streams on the land, the type of landscape you have on the land. Yes, it probably those things are in place to help protect the person themselves, because you don't want to go build a house, right?
Yeah,
You don't want to hire a Joe Blow to build a beautiful $1 million house, and then you get a really nasty waterfall, and next thing you know, it undermines the foundation of the land, and then you lose everything, and then you might lose your life. So I'm not going to argue against that. All I'm saying is take a careful look at the land, and I'm telling anybody else out there who might be considered buying land, before you go buying any land, look at the land, get all the information on the land, talk to the government agencies about the particular piece of land, where it's located, to make sure that you're not going to be prohibited from doing anything that you want to do. But I hear what you're saying.
It's a big piece of land, one foot of land, and that part is less that I don't,
Yeah, well,
I'm just concerned,
Well, you got to look at the plan that you want to build. Now, the house that you want to build, the size of it, how you got to cut your roads, how you got to get into it, the kind of foundation you got to build. And again, if any of that is going to interfere with the natural stream, you can't uproot a lot of trees anymore, because that helps you, and it helps the system to maintain its integrity. You're just not going to be able to use the land. So you got to really do your homework when you're trying to buy land now. It ain't like the old days. Though a lot of those things are done with.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, Sam, thanks.
All right, appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So again, in studio I have tonight, again, it is your show, so don't feel no way. You can call about anything that you want to call about. But in studio tonight, we have Mr. Damian Percival, who's here with me. We're talking a little bit about the transportation system. I know you guys have concerns. You got legitimate concern, and I want to get to those concerns, because, if we don't fix it now, it's going to become more of an ant's nest. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Good evening. Hello.
Hello, good night, sir.
Hi, talk to me.
I had a concern about the taxi.
Yes, I have the right guy here for you.
I was went out off island, so I have to drop his truck up by the airport.
You're listening to yourself. Just talk straight to me.
Right. Anyhow, I getting late to go on my job. So I see a taxi coming up. I stop the taxi, ask the man how much to go to Hodges Creek. He turn and tell me, give me what I have. So I say, man, I need to know the fare. He said, man, give me what I have. So I turn and tell I have $4. He turn and tell me now that can't work. And this not good. They need to tell me the price. I need to go on my job.
Where was he coming
from?
Okay.
That's all. The taxi man needs to tell you something, Papa.
Let me ask you this, because you're right. Where were you coming from? You were in Road Town?
I live in West End, and I go to the airport. I have to go Hodges Creek because I have to go to Cooper Island on a job.
Absolutely. So you were in West End. You were trying to catch a taxi to Hodges Creek.
Yes.
And you asked the driver, what is the fare to Hodges Creek?
Yes.
And he said to you, just give me whatever you have.
Yes.
Okay. You said, all I have is $4.
$4. And he said that, no, I asked it twice. Man, just tell me the fare because I need it to go work.
Okay.
So he tell me, give me what you get. So I said, I get $4.
All right.
Because I don't know the fare. I don't want to be $20.
So your complaint is that you want what?
They need to tell you the price or if you can pay or not.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, caller, I understand your concern and your complaint.
Yeah.
the law specifically says that a taxi driver is supposed to have a copy of the tariff with them at all times.
When I jump in now and I come off and tell me $20 and I don't get that for freedom.
What happens is this, and the reason the law says that is if any customer like yourself is concerned about the price, they can show you the legitimate government tariff. And I can tell you right now, the fare from West End to Hodges Creek for one person is $40.
No, not from West End. Listen.
From West End to Hodges Creek, by the government fare for one person is $40. 40.
No, listen, you not get me yet. My bus went off island, so I have to drop this truck up by the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So from the airport to Hodges Creek, I need a ride or a taxi or something, so I stop it from there.
All right, so you see, we got a story confused, and I thought that's what you said. So you basically went to the airport.
Island Airport to Hodges Creek.
You went to the airport and you wanted a taxi fare from the airport to Hodges Creek, not from West End.
Yes.
Okay, and you wanted to know how much that was.
Yes.
And he charged you $20.
But he said, continue to say, give me how much you have. So then I said, I have $4 now.
Yeah.
$4. Then he tell me, nah, this can't work.
Okay.
So you need to tell you the price.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough. Well, you as a consumer, you do have a right to ask the fare. In the future, for anyone like you...
Suppose I jump in and when I reach and tell me $20 and I don't have it.
Well, Carla, you did the right thing. If you didn't jump in, you did the right thing. If you jump in and not clarify the fare, then you have to share the responsibility and the blame with the operator. The operator should disclose the fare up front so you as a consumer knows exactly what you're up against.
Okay, next time I need to do better.
All right, and you do understand the difference between a legitimate taxi and a bus taxi, right?
I know, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Well, you see, Sam, speaking to the concern the caller had, these are some of the problems we face at the commission because of the same bus service and the taxi service that is kind of confusing. And like I said, this is a service, we got persons wanting to help the domestic side of it, to move persons back and forth. I guess I misunderstood what the caller said.
Yeah.
He said he wanted from West End to Hodges Creek. Well, that's what I thought he said.
Yeah.
But from Beef Island to Hodges Creek is $18 for one person.
Yeah.
And again, like I told him, the law says that taxis are supposed to have a copy of the tariff in them so persons can get the fare.
Absolutely. Let's get this next call real quick. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Hi, good evening.
Yes, hello there, good evening.
Talk to me.
Yes, thank you so much for taking my call. The topic tonight is a very good one, and I think it all comes down to basic public information.
Okay. And that's why we have the gentleman on screen tonight.
Right, because as the motoring public, as pedestrians, as travelers, there seems to be some sort of confusion as to what is a taxi and what is a bus. In other countries, you have public bus service that all of the buses are the same color. Whenever you go to a bus stop, you know that when this particular bus comes up, this is what you have to get on, and this is what you pay. We don't have that information to work with here in the BVI.
I agree.
We need that sort of information to be out there to the public, so that if you're waiting at a bus stop, you know exactly how much it is that if you're supposed to pay $2 or $3 or how much ever it is to go on the bus to get from Rotong to East End or Rotong to West End. The city buses are wonderful. It's a very, very great initiation by the government, by the way.
Yeah.
But we need more information to be given to the public, motoring public, so that they will know exactly. When I get on a bus, this is what I'm supposed to pay.
So you would like to see the bus them color coded. You would like to see more scheduling up. You would like to see published fares. You want to see a more uniform bus system that identifies a bus versus a taxi, is what you're saying.
Yes, because right now, most people who have to take a bus or who have to take a taxi are not aware that we actually do have a public bus system, because most of us are not, we feel that there is no public bus system, so whatever you get out there you take. But if there is a public bus system, as Mr. As Damian said, that we can get on the bus and pay a particular amount to get where it is that we have to go, it's only fair that the public gets to know this.
Let me ask you a question.
We're just going to be out there, feeling for whatever it is that we can get.
Let me ask you a question, Carla. How long you been residing in the BVI?
24 years.
24 years. And you know, culturally, like one caller said earlier, we have people who believe that they're entitled. You know, if you have the system, and it's a very good one, it's a good initiative. You have the government prior government, current government, who is trying to implement bus stops, which means you as a consumer have to walk to the bus stop, get on a bus, get off the bus stop as closest to your destination. But then we have people who get on some of these other transportation, bus providing transportation, and the first thing they'll say, well, let's say they're coming from Eastern, they'll say, well, I'm coming from Eastern, but I'm going up Station Road and I'm stopping off at the high school. But that's not the route of the bus. How do we change that culture?
Exactly. This is where public information comes in. If you have, this is where public information comes in. If you have the bus system, properly implemented, where the public is properly informed, these are the bus stops, these are the buses that you are to expect to stop at these bus stops, and this is where you're going to be dropped off.
Absolutely.
They have no reason to expect anything else.
Absolutely.
So when you stop a vehicle with taxi pays, you expect to pay taxi fares.
Yeah. Or you expect to be taken to your destination even if you're not paying taxi fares.
No. That's not what I said. I said if you take a bus that is supposed to pick you up and drop you up at designated bus stops for a particular fare, and you are properly informed, through public education, this is what you are supposed to expect, and this is what you're supposed to be given by the entity that is granting that public service. Yeah. But if you are one of the pedestrians or one of the motoring public that is hiring that stop a taxi without those designated buses being identified and the public being informed of them, then if you stop a taxi, then it is on you.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well said.
That's my 2 cents.
Well said. Thank you so much, Damian.
Bye-bye.
Quickly before we take a break, if you want to comment on anything the lady said.
Well, I actually appreciate the call. It's a lot of very good information. And since the bus services on behalf of the BVI government, we should get into making sure that there are public schedules where persons can know this is what time the bus is supposed to be passing, where the bus stop locations are, so persons can know that. And so persons can actually know the fare. So that is something that I will definitely take on the advisement and see if we can work on that as soon as possible to be able to try and get a schedule, a bus route, and the fares out there for the motoring public. So I want to thank the lady for her comments.
Definitely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, keep it coming. We got to take a break for the people that make the show possible. We love your comments. We want to hear from you. It's not a controversial thing. It's an educational thing. So feel free to hit us up when we get back off the break, all right?
Spaghetti in boiling water, add tomatoes, sweet peppers, and onions, and presto, your spaghetti marinara.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from last-minute dinner dilemmas. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
Right Way Food Markets introduces Family Favorites, giving you all your family needs for less. Shop Right Way Food Market's Family Favorites and start counting your savings in all Right Way stores. Unlimited savings on Bounty paper towels, only $3.59 for a 2-roll pack. Kellogg's Corn Flakes, 18 ounces, $5.99. Libby's Corned Beef, 12 ounces, $3.15. Distinction Milk UHT, 1 liter, only $1.50. Kraft American Singles, 16 ounces, $4.99. Find hundreds of family favorites like that through the stores. Also available at Fine Foods and Harbor Market. When you shop for your family, buy only the best with Family Favorites. Everything you need for less.
Many people don't even know that they have cabin filters in their vehicles, and most others aren't aware of the health benefits of maintaining your vehicle's cabin filter. Dirty or clogged cabin filter can cause musty odors in your vehicle and cause contaminants to become more concentrated in the cabin that passengers actually breathe more fumes and particles. The cabin filter helps trap pollen, bacteria, dust, and exhaust gas that may find their way into your vehicle's air conditioning, heating, and ventilation system. The filter also prevents leaves, bugs, and other debris from entering the HVAC system. Change your cabin filter. It's a simple preventive maintenance step that goes a long way forward to protecting you and your passengers, as well as your vehicle heating, ventilating, and air conditioning HVAC system. Breathe easy, Virgin Islands, and get your cabin filter replaced today. Visit One Stop Auto at the R&R Malone Complex at Parkwood Pond, or call us at 495-2886.
Plus, the refreshing family drink with a revved up fruit flavor.
New flavors now available: mango, pineapple ginger, and soursop. Turbo Plus is distributed in the Virgin Islands by Total General Services.
Marine Air Conditioning and Refrigeration, specializing in servicing and repairing units such as Daikin, Marine Air Tech, Mitsubishi, TGM, York. Anytime that you call, we can install. We also work on commercial and residential units in houses, boats, cars, and company buildings. If you even need some cool breeze for your doghouse or house stable, we will not hesitate. We are always able. No job is too big or too small for Alice Marine Limited. For our home and restaurant customers, we also service and install all your appliances such as ovens, stoves, washers, dryers, refrigerators, and freezers. You can contact us at 494-4529 or 340-3791 or email us alsmarine@sunbvi.com. Alsmarine is located in Purcell Estate Road, Town, Tortola. Alsmarine Limited, your #1 choice.
I'm here to find out about my husband's social security. You hear about that bad accident? Yes. Did my husband get my show?
He went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It was a serious accident, you know. But he don't get some of that security money.
Miss, your husband's contributions are not up to date.
What? What do you mean by that?
Remember, you must secure your tomorrow today. Check on your contribution status right away.
Last left turn.
Brilliant. The directions I got to go straight.
How you gonna tell me about them stupid directions when the map is right here?
Let me see the map. Let me see the map.
So now you want to see the map?
Give me the map, man.
Alright.
No, we passed there already.
Make a right. Go 100 meters, and that's the destination.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from getting lost. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Again, the phone lines are wide open. The text number's up. I see the text, guys. I see the text. But you know how it is on this show. Once the phone starts to ring, it's very hard. I'm not like Courtney where I like to stop the conversation and start reading a text. But I will get to them as long as we have time. As long as you guys are involved with the conversation, we're going to keep the show going. So we have comments like public education is lacking. We have, for the caller that called and talked about color coding. The buses are color coded. I just wanted to put that out there. Some of the buses, the real buses, it's all in there. If you look at the ones that have bus, they're light brown, tannish kind of vehicle. But we got a call. Caller, you're on live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Possible.
Good night, good night, good night.
How are you doing?
Yeah,
we're doing good.
Bad.
Yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. I have a little problem. Someone like you passing King Garden Bay.
King Garden Bay?
Mm-hmm.
King Garden Bay is like a ghost town, but I know what you're referring to.
Well, I took you, but you have to drive to King Garden Bay. We have a problem in the season start. I said it starts the next one.
What's going on?
It has so many cars on the road in King Garden Bay for public highway.
Too many cars down. Wait. Too many cars in the village itself, or
on the road, on the public road.
Oh, you mean derelict cars?
Yes.
Okay.
Down by the wedding.
Yeah.
It has 3 cars right there with no tires on the front, no tires up on block, and it's a mess for the tourists. Look at them. I went through there about the day before. I think it is in the week, and I had 2 people at the store. And I said, how many people that they have living in this area right here that have all of these cars on the road with no tires on the front? You pass today. 2 tires up on block. I talk about other cars, but 3 of them up on block, no tires in the front. That's a shame. You know, and you go up by where we just get up by where we just park up by the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
The place needs cleaning up.
Yeah.
King Garden Bay is in a mess. All the brightest place that we have in King Garden Bay is the cemetery.
Wow.
If you pass through the cemetery, it looks like it's clean, paint up, everything. That's only the thing for the tourists back to there to look at is the cemetery.
Yeah.
That is not good. I want to bring some of the senators or some of them out in King Garden Bay to be truthful.
But Carl, I want you to help me also call out the owners and operators, business owners, the residents of King Garden Bay, those who are responsible, not just the government, but those who are responsible for having derelict cars in a tourism environment, a place where them same people are probably dependent on the tourists to come and patronize their restaurant, their bars and so forth. So they themselves have to have some pride. And I go to King Garden Bay a lot. As a matter of fact, I was going there tomorrow, so I'm going to try to talk to some of the people down there and whisper in their ears and say, listen, we have callers calling that are concerned. And you obviously don't live in a neighborhood.
Listen, that's the government. Don't tell me not about nobody that wants to do it. Public road is the government road.
I understand.
It's own too, but it's the government. Don't continue with that. You can't have things like that in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. They put tax on them, and if you don't move them, they take them away. So don't cost anything but going to nobody. You don't go to nobody resident before they clean you out. Don't do it.
No, I understand, Carla, but again, it's a shared responsibility, right?
I ain't going to nobody.
Let's be honest about that. It's a shared responsibility.
But what you're going to do? The government ain't doing nothing. The police ain't doing nothing.
I agree with you on that, but at the same time, right? We, all of us, still have to have pride in our home. This is still our home. We still got to make sure that our home is clean.
No, my home is where it is now.
And I'm sure, Carla, if you were to invite people, yeah, but I'm sure if you were to invite,
nothing that to you.
And I respect that, but I'm sure if you were to invite people to your home, you're gonna make sure that your front door, your yard, you're gonna make sure that your house is clean.
Friend, and it's the possible. You go and you don't go to the people then.
Definitely. Well,
police to the people then.
Well, I know exactly some of the areas you're talking about, and I got good relations with some of the people and it is an eyesore. So I think
pass down there tomorrow, okay?
I will be down there, Carla. But what do you think about the transportation business? You satisfied? You happy? You sound like you somebody in transportation.
Well, the transportation is all right. The laws is all right to keep us in line. I ain't going from that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You got to keep in line. So it's strict orders. We will keep in line.
Definitely.
I ain't disagree with that.
So enforcement.
Mr. Percival doing a good job. At least I think he's trying his best.
Thank you very much, Carla.
Well, he's one of us.
He's one of the bad one, them too, so he wants some power on me.
Oh, you one of them. You one of them. We got a curve. Yeah, we're gonna deal with all of you. But stay tuned because
try my best. I don't want Mr. Percival send me home.
No, man. I wouldn't do that.
Well, even if it's to send you home, stay tuned because before he leave, he got some exciting news. I understand some things he's working on. If we could get those things passed, people like yourself will probably be happy with that.
Okay.
All right, Carla. Thanks a lot for the call.
Okay, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call us, ring us up. Oh, the phones are going crazy. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please.
Yes, hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Sam. Mr. Percival.
Hi.
I heard you outline the different modes of transportation with regards to bus, shuttle, taxi, delivery. Where does this school bus come into play?
Currently, the school bus still falls under taxi or shuttle because the shuttle can perform the services of a school bus. Once it has the proper signage on it, the law states that any vehicle that's being used for a school bus has to have a sticker outlining school bus on it.
So a taxi can have a dual role of taxi as well as school bus.
Actually, how the law is structured, the taxi and the taxi driver can actually perform all the functions, which is delivery and the taxi service. That is the flexibility that's given to taxi and only taxi. Whereas delivery, a shuttle driver can only do shuttling, a limo driver can only do the limousine service, hence and so forth.
Okay, have you all ever considered these safari buses transporting school children? Because I see they're a bit of a safety issue. Have you all ever considered the way those vehicles are designed, not trying to put anyone out there?
In other words, you're looking for more regulation, you're looking for more enclosure of the buses, what?
Yeah, more enclosure. I think it's safer for the school kids to be inside rather than, these safari buses, just one bad swing or something, the kids are basically inside. So it's just something to give some consideration to.
Yeah.
I think it's a safety concern more than anything else.
Well,
all right? Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot for the call. Go ahead,
Thank you very much for your call. And I want to say that safety is one of the key things we look at the commission. I have actually just taken to my board a safety mechanism for safari buses, how they should operate, what should be included in a bus, what we should be looking for in terms of inspection. And in some degree, I agree with you, Carla, that, with school kids on these safari buses, anything can happen. But we also have to commend our operators because throughout the years, we've had no incidents of persons being injured or anything like that on the type of buses. But it's something we'll definitely take under advisement. We'll research some more and I'll see what we can do in the near future.
Damien, I think it also goes back to what we was talking about, culture. It's a cultural practice of us in the BVI. I mean, I think BVI, St. Thomas, and maybe now St. Kitts, I think, a few places that only operate safaris in the manner in which we operate them. And we see, I think over the years, we've had a good safety record.
A very good safety record.
Very good.
Yes.
But, driving school kids, it is a concern.
Of course, it is a concern.
Let's be real about that. Moving forward, Damien. obviously, you know, there's all kinds of complaints. There's all kinds of concern.
But Sam, before we move on, while we're on the topic of school children, there is a major concern we're seeing. And it absolutely has very little to do with the bus driver themselves. And it is something that we definitely want to bring to the public is we're noticing a lot of the litter on the side of the road is coming from the buses when they are transporting school children. So we're gonna work in hands with the solid waste department. I think it's now called the Department of Waste Management to implement a trash bag in the buses. I've spoken to Mr. Massacott, and he told me that they do have some nice little bags, because what we do is we try to tell the operators to speak to the children, to ask them not to refrain from throwing the trash outside the bus when the bus is transporting them. It's not a good thing. As a tourism destination, we have to try our best to make sure that our territory remains clean. So this is definitely something that I would like to bring to the attention of parents who have kids transporting on buses. Please ask them to refrain from throwing the trash outside the bus when
Keep your island clean, guys. Keep the island clean. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sam. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, and to your guests. I'd just like to make a comment on transportation, parking in general in the Road Town area.
Definitely.
Okay, well, what I'm looking at, I'm thinking about free subsidized bus service within the Road Town area. And I think you can support that with peripheral parking. And a way to pay for that free bus service would be some of the charges used from the parking on the perimeter. And another way to pay for it to help subsidize it would be that free service would only be for residents of the BVI. You get some kind of Metro card or something that identify you, or maybe you pay a small sum of money that it can last you for the year. And then for the tourists who are not resident, you can charge them the regular fare. Because I really, Road Town is just too small, it's congested, you don't have no real land area, so I don't really see any way to improve traffic or parking in the area other than to eliminate as much of it as possible. So just a suggestion.
Well, Carla, I'd like to thank you for your call and your comments. And I just want you to know this is something that we have been looking at. It's one of the things that the current Minister of Communication and Works has put in front of us to try to address. And this is why we're looking to make sure that the bus service is structured properly. They have a proper schedule. They have proper pick up and drop off areas, because persons who travel a lot, Sam might know this, for someone who lives like in New York, in Manhattan, everybody know parking is terrible. But what they do is persons park outside the city and they use public transportation to get around the city. So we're going to be talking with the city manager to see if we can get the bus service up to that level, so persons can probably park outside the city and then just move around the city via the bus service. That's where we're looking to go.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Carla. Keep the calls coming, ladies and gentlemen. Keep them coming. Tonight we're all about transportation, but again, it is open for anything else that you might have that you want to talk about. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Hello.
Hi, talk to us. Don't listen to the TV. Just talk to me directly.
Good evening. I'm not listening to TV because this is my fourth time trying to get through to you guys.
The phone is hot tonight.
Anyway, the topic is hot. One of the things that some lady called in earlier about, and I'm not sure if I didn't hear it completely, and that's one of the questions I have.
Carla.
If you hire a taxi to go to the airport, regardless from which part of town or West End or whatever, and they want to pick up another passenger or 2 or 3 passengers going to the airport, would you have to pay the same fare going to the airport as what they charge you as a one person? Have you heard that?
So your question is, if you charter me, let's say from Road Town, Central Road Town, at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on my way to the airport to drop you off. But on the way, I pick up another fare.
2 or 3 fares.
2 or 3 different people to go to the airport.
Yeah.
Now, I gonna answer in my way, and Damien gonna correct me, because he is the law. The law clearly states you is the charter, right? In order for me to pick up another fare, I should first seek your permission.
Okay.
If you agree,
got my permission.
if you agree, then I should reduce the fare for you. Okay? Let's say to go to the airport, I got 5 people. It's $12 a person. By right, your fare should now be $12. By right. Because I have done you a disservice. That's the law. That's the law. No, here's what I would have done. I would have picked up 3 other people and said, do you mind if I pick up these other guys? Your fare normally would have been $27. I'm going to charge you $15. You will say, yes, no problem. I can save $12. I'm not going to charge you $12. I'm going to charge you $15. And the other guys that I pick up that are traveling together as that group, I'm going to charge them what the charter rate is for that group. But I have given you a discount as long as you agree to allow me to pick up those fares. That's the law. Now, Damien might correct me.
Yes, Damien, I'm waiting to hear.
Well, Carla, this is it. Like, I'll agree with what Sam said. With you chartering that taxi to take you from wherever you're going to the airport, he would have to seek your permission in order to pick up any other persons. But where we may disagree is because the tariff speaks to passengers, not if it's a group, not if it's a family. It says 2 or more passengers. So basically, automatically the fare should be reduced because it's multiple passengers in the vehicle. That is what the tariff says. It specifically says 2 or more passengers, 3 or more passengers, and the new fare would kick in. Is that clear?
Yeah, let me interject here for a second. Your bus would hold about 8 to 10 people.
Right.
Okay. Now, I am the first person that got in.
Right.
And you tell me that the fare is $40. I'm just using this arbitrarily. Now, you other people are going. I say, is it okay if I pick these people up because they're going to the airport? Now, I want to know if you pick up 6 other people besides myself, what is the charge for that? I mean, is it divide the first $40 into 6, or how does it work?
Well, you see, Carla, this is where the whole problem is, because like I said initially, a taxi is a chartered service from one point to the next, because when it speaks to 3 or more passengers and how much each pay, it speaks from the specific location to the next location. The problem now is if you pick up persons in between. So that's where now what Sam said would be correct, because if you're coming from West End to go to the airport, your fare is one thing, say about $50. But if he picks up persons in town, in the city, now that should not decrease the amount you have to pay. So these are little areas where it would then come down to the discretion of the operator. You understand? Because the taxi is legitimately not supposed to stop for anybody else once you have them chartered. And once you give the okay, that means you're saying you can move these people, but I still know what my fare is. And I'm still agreeing to pay my fare.
Let's say that you originally told me that I had to pay $40 from West End to East End to the airport.
Right.
But then you pick up 6 other people.
From West End.
Would it be fair to me that I give you the okay to pick up the other people to have to pay the same $40? And what does the other people pay? What I'm asking is, would there be a chart drawn up and say, well, people from, as you indicated, from West End to town is X amount of dollars. From town to the airport, for both parties it's X amount of dollars, but then you divide it by the amount of people that are in the taxi.
But Carla, let me answer this real quick and then Damien can correct me. So if you catch a taxi from airport to Rotown or airport to West End, let's use the longest distance.
Okay.
One person, 2 people is $50. That's the tariff. There's a tariff posted at every taxi outlet, airport, port of entry, and so forth. You can check that out. Let's say on the way down, as soon as I leave the airport, I saw 4 other people on the bus stop. And they say, hey, I need a taxi to West End. I got 5 people all together now. Yourself and 4 others. Automatically, at that point, because we're at the beginning point, your fare will be divided. The entire fare, not the $50 that you were initially paying, but the entire fare now, it's on the tariff, is calculated. The amount of people, it now becomes $20 a person. So really and truly, as long as you go to the same location in West End, your fare is only $20. The other people who caught me, the 4, will pay $80 because it's $20 a person for them. You understand what I'm saying? It's not the $50 divided by the 5 people now.
Right.
Because the tariff has a multiplier effect. 1 person is a charter. 2 people is a charter, but divided by that amount of people. 3 people, the same thing. The fare gets bigger, but per person, it gets cheaper. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It gets cheaper. What I'm saying is, will you all have something tabulated that shows the division of what the fare is exactly?
Yes,
Yes,
it's on the tariff. It's a tariff. Each driver should have one in his vehicle.
Not should, they're mandated by law to have one if the passenger asks for one. Because you actually supposed to ask a taxi driver if they have a copy of this in their vehicle. If they don't, this is actually an offense. Because they're supposed to explain to you what your price is from one point to the next.
You got that?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so it's in the tariff. Damien has the book right there. The tariff was done a few years ago. You can buy one at the DMV. You can buy one from the taxi livery office down at the DMV. And Tourist Board used to sell them. You can get one there. Or again, if you go to any taxi outlet, just look up on the board. There's a huge taxi tariff that tells you about within the region they're operating from and the overall taxi tariff. And it's also even one there that's specifically for cruise operators, cruise ship passengers coming off the cruise ship.
Just a correction, Sam. The only place...
What is considered as a part of luggage? Now, is it hand luggage or a suitcase that came off the plane?
Any luggage
any
you
piece
carry.
Of cargo.
Any piece of cargo that you carry in is luggage.
Including your hand luggage?
Including your hand luggage.
So, and you have to pay extra for each piece?
Well, yeah, but most guys don't charge you anyway.
Sorry?
The first piece is free, and then there's a charge for each additional piece. What we find is a lot of operators don't even charge for the additional piece as a part of their service.
Because a lot of people don't know that, and they want to know, if I have 1 piece of luggage and my hand luggage, why should I pay extra for my luggage when I pay the taxi fare to get down there?
Yeah, but it's just like the plane. You get a piece of luggage. As a matter of fact, some of the planes now charge you for luggage. All luggage, even carry-ons.
No, they ain't reached that far yet.
Yes, they do.
Check out USA, check out JetBlue, check out Delta out of St. Thomas. Oh yeah, they have gotten to that point. They even getting to a point where they can start charging you for water. Yeah, it's terrible. But Carla, thanks a lot for the call. If you have any more questions,
you're doing a great job at informing the public, and I enjoy your show for tonight.
Well, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Keep the calls coming. Yeah, Damien. Go ahead.
You see, Sam, that's one of the reasons why we accepted your invitation to the show, is because we want to come out and start educating the public. I know persons might say, oh, but it took a while. What happened is the commission has been open for just over 2 years. And I hope persons can understand, one of the things we had to do is wrestle with the legislation that speaks to the transportation for hire industry. We had to get familiarized with it. We had to look at it, see where they may need changes, where amendments were made, so we can refer back to all of that. And now that we have a grasp on that, now we're going to start coming and educating the public so we don't have a lot of mishaps in the industry.
Okay, all right. We got a text real quick. Say, what has Damien done for the taxi industry since he's been appointed? I'll let you answer that. What have you done? What new changes, what new initiative you have brought to the table?
Well, like I just explained, we familiarized ourselves. There were a few little hiccups at the beginning. As you know, we just had a chairman come on board, Mr. Christopher. But one of the major accomplishments that we made was the Taxi Academy that we just had. If persons are familiar, the law says that a taxi driver is supposed to have a certificate from the Tourist Board. What happens is training falls under the Taxi and Livery Commission. So we've been working with the Tourist Board in the past to put on training seminars so the taxi drivers can be trained. But what we realized is the structure wasn't a proper structure. The mechanism wasn't a proper mechanism. So you would have, when is the next training? And then, ourselves and the Tourist Board would be, rustling to get training put on. Normally we'd be doing the same things.
So you're going to got a lot of training coming up. Let's get to this call real quick. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Hi, good evening.
Yes, good night. Speak your mind.
Yes, talk to us.
How you doing, man? I see that being member himself.
Yeah, we have some important people online on screen tonight.
Important.
That's wonderful, man. It's good to see you there. One of the concerns is, at least we come from a long way from where taxi used to be, and we try to get to something level because of the type of tourists we deal with. And I'm glad to hear that we're addressing the bus service. Okay. And we're seeing the bus now acting as taxi, and the taxi bus. Sometimes when you go to some of the place to pick up people, the car is people who look up taxi pass and the bus pick up the people and money, people feel they're responsible. So one time I had to block a man from where the people where I come from. He just driving by. But one of the concerns I have is at the different ports.
Right.
I know we have this system come in place, even before the commission came in place, where the voucher system.
Right.
I still find that we still having a fight, even when we have dispatcher at the different ports, and I could base at the airport. When I want the dispatcher to have some kind of training, I would like to see that. When they address people in a professional manner of when people come through these entrance, good morning, good afternoon, dispatcher service, how may I help you? That's the first order of sentence we're supposed to ask the people. Let the people and let you know whether you need a taxi or not. Because right now there are people who still go to some of these establishments that well-established them, and they're not really with the establishment, but still at some of the hotels. But they still seem like they're sailing with those people. And it's a confusion, almost you have to be fighting and almost creating enemies. That's why we need a system, a proper system in place, that what is supposed to be theirs will be theirs. What is supposed to be the independent will be independent. So it's too much of fight with the independent and the booker. That need to cut off. We don't need that. We need to put things in order and let things fall in place. So we may allow what to do.
Yes, I'm trying.
But up there, listen.
All right, thanks a lot for the call, caller. Damien, you got a lot of work. We got a lot to cover, but we ain't gonna be able to do all it tonight. But go ahead.
I want to thank the caller because it's actually a situation that we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. We just had a meeting with some of the taxi operators who operate at the ports of entries, and the minister was included in these meetings actually, because it is a concern that we have met ever since we opened the doors of the commission, and we have discussed training with the dispatchers. We're actually in talks with the Tourist Board to finalize how we're actually going to train them, because the Tourist Board is going to train them on how they interact with the guests, while we're going to train them on the information in terms of who goes with what vehicle. We've started that, we've met with them, we've spoken with them, but some of the problems we see doesn't necessarily fall all on the dispatcher. Some of it actually falls on some of the operators themselves.
Gotcha.
Which is, could be the taxi or delivery operators. That's why, we're trying our best. We've met with our parties. We've discussed with our parties. We're trying to find ways how we can come to some kind of equilibrium with both parties to make sure that this system works. Because the voucher says one thing.
Yeah.
What I want to let the drivers know is the commission also...
All right, I tell you what, because that's going to be long. We're going to get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
What kind of party this?
Them they bring the music.
Seriously?
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from party disasters. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
Right Way Food Markets introduces Family Favorites, giving you all your family needs for less. Shop Right Way Food Market's Family Favorites and start counting your savings in all Right Way stores. Unlimited savings on Kraft Mac and Cheese, 7.25 ounces, 99 cents. Kraft American Cheese Single, 16 ounces, $4.49. Dasani Purified Water, 20 ounces, 79 cents. Nabisco Cream of Wheat, 28 ounces, $5.69. Find hundreds of Family Favorites like that through the stores. Also available at Pine Foods and Harbor Market. When you shop for your family, buy only the best with Family Favorites. Everything you need for less.
Hi there. Welcome to Botanic Service Station, your number one Soul gas fill-ups in the British Virgin Islands. Try our delicious hot wings or pizza with your favorite toppings, made fresh every day. Try it. I know you will love it.
Need a cold drink? We have the widest variety, the cheapest and coldest in town.
Just a friendly reminder, we have a wide range of vehicle maintenance products.
Oils, coolant, batteries, air fresheners, and our number one product, Soul Gas. The best gasoline that will take you further and keep your engine running cleaner. Do you love to cook? We have your LPG right here for your convenience. Open from 7 a.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. Chances are you'll be stopping by the Botanic Service Station today. So just grab a cold drink while you're there.
What kind of party this?
Them they bring the music.
Seriously?
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from party disasters. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I realize, with all the texts and the amount of calls that this is a very sensitive, a hot topic. And a lot of you have a lot of concerns and questions. And a lot of those concerns and questions are personal interaction you have every day out there with the operators who operate taxis, tours, livery, whatever. And so I appreciate the calls. I appreciate you guys really taking part in the conversation. Obviously, we ain't going to get to everything that we want to get to tonight. So we definitely going to bring back these guys on the show. We're going to have Damien and whoever else wants to come back and answer more of your questions and concern. But I think, Damien, the biggest comment I got tonight is dissemination of information.
Right.
PR. A lot of people are confused because we're moving in the right direction, but we're not bringing the people along. Again and again, tell the people what is your approach to educating people more. Hold that thought, though. We're gonna get to this call real quick. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Hi. Good evening.
I heard Mr. Percival said earlier.
Hi. Talk up a little bit louder because this sounds like a good call.
Okay. I heard Mr. Percival said earlier that the bus service is owned and operated by the government.
I would like to correct you. It's not owned, it's operated on behalf of the government by a private entity.
Oh.
So it's not owned by the government. It's operated on behalf of the government.
Oh, okay. So I would like to know if the government is assisting the bus service. In what way are they assisting them?
You want to know if the bus service is being subsidized?
Yes, by the government, yes.
No, the bus service is not being subsidized by the government.
Okay.
You think they need to be?
Yes, I think so.
Why?
Because they need help.
With the amount of people traveling every day and the amount of business they take away from taxi operators, you think the government still need to support them?
Well, they need to help them, yes.
I understand. What would you like to see? More buses? More color-coded buses? More routes? More bus stops? Covered bus stops? What would you like to see? Are you there?
Well, yes. And if the government can assist the owners of the buses in maintaining the buses, that would also be good.
Okay, you think some of the buses need a little bit of upkeep?
Well, I think they need probably a little assistance, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you, Carla.
Well, Carla, I'm going to say I disagree with you. I don't think the government needs to subsidize the bus services. The government has the right to run the bus service, but because of our culture and our nature in this country, they allow others. They license them to do what they're going to do and what they're doing now. And those guys are capable. They have money. They have money to buy buses. They have money to hire drivers. They can do what needs to be done. All what needs to be done, in addition to the bus services coming on stream, is the government arm of things to regulate them better. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with you. Government don't need to subsidize that. And I'll tell you something. I remember a couple years ago having the same conversation, a debate with some of my colleagues, and they were saying that, oh, there's no business to West End. And I said, in business, look at the trend. We have a number of people now working in West End and moving from West End coming into town. And if people know there's a reliable transportation system in place, they'll utilize it. If they know there's highlighted in areas where they could go and get the bus, they'll do it. But the bus service needs to be regulated. It's not regulated. We got bus drivers going, dropping people to the hotels, dropping people to the marinas, waiting on the ferry dock outside of their scheduled departure time, No, it needs to be regulated, and the government don't need to subsidize that. Damien, what's your take on that? Should the government subsidize the bus service? Is the government thinking about subsidizing the bus service?
That question, Sam, I personally cannot answer. I know as of right now, the government does not subsidize the bus service. I have no knowledge of the government planning to subsidize the bus service. Again, those are, avenues beyond my control. That would be between the Minister of Communication and Works and the bus service. But what I do know is that the bus service is run on behalf of the government of the BVI, so it is highly regulated. The government sets the schedule, sets the pricing. So it's not just a free fall for the owners of the bus service. It's a service. Anyone can apply to the government to run a bus service. It's not a monopoly. It's not where just one person can have that business. Anyone can actually apply, just like they can apply for a taxi license or a livery permit.
Yeah.
Anyone?
It's like I remember. You travel, so you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You go to Barbados, for example. I use Barbados because I think they have one of the best public transportation system in place. Mm-hmm. They have government-run buses, which are the big, ugly yellow buses, and they have these big, long, beautiful buses you see in the States. Mm-hmm. Properly regulated, time regulated, everything. You can any of the hotels you stay in, you can get schedules, And trust me, 99% of the time, if they say in front of this particular spot, the bus gonna be there at 9:15, 9:15 you better be there. Then you have the guys that run up and down the road, make some real loud noise. They're shuttles, they're sort of like what we have here. But each one of those individuals work for a company that has to follow a line. They have to follow a program. And they only could run a route. You might have 10, 15 different companies running different areas, but they are regulated. And whenever you go to Bridgetown and you go into the bus depot, there's police officers there with guns on their side. Any of them guys don't stay in line, they pull them out, they pull the license. It's that simple. Regulation is really what's going to help. And I tell you what, when you get into Bridgetown, and you got to go on the other side of the town, and the bus stop you here, you better walk across and catch the other bus. There's no taking me across and then coming back going in the line. And I think the confusion, Damien, what the callers are saying is that we need proper regulation, and we have to stop playing this talk about, guys, we're trying to fill in the void. No, the reason why the government have a proper run regulated bus system is because people want that. People need that. And people don't need to be fighting with a driver because one driver earlier said it was $5 and then the next one said it's $15 because it's a charter. You know, people don't need that confusion. And if it's happening to the local, it's happening doubly to the tourist. And imagine what it's doing to a tourism product.
Well, we agree with you that the confusion doesn't need to be there. And that's one of the things we're going to try our best to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. We want persons to understand the difference between a bus and a taxi. Yeah. And like I said earlier, the guys who are taxi operators who drive a bus service, this is something we're going to have to sit and discuss with them and probably find a solution to move forward. Because like I said, these guys have been doing this service long before there was even a bus service put in place by the government. You know, and this is what these guys know. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they know.
All right, just change it up a little bit. Obviously, we got the new cruise season coming up.
Yes.
A lot of guys have concerns about their position, placement inside. How does the future look as far as transportation, independent operators with a new cruise pair development? You guys have any insight on that?
At current time, no. This is all still with the BVI Ports Authority and the Ministry of Communication and Works. And I know they're just working on the construction phase now. I know we've been in talks. They're going to set up an operation committee, which is going to be then discussing how the operation is going to happen at the facilities when it's closer to completion of construction.
Okay. So it's fair to say there's no plan in place, even though we have someone from the BVI Port as part of the board, Taxi Delivery Commission board. But we know, as you said, something will come forward eventually.
I will say this, as of present, I do not know of a plan right now. Okay. I know of a potential operation committee that's going to be set up that will discuss the plans. Right now, the main focus is the construction.
All right, well, let me say this. Let me say this to the people then who are responsible. Let me say it so you don't get in trouble. For the people who are responsible for enlightening, educating us, operators, obviously, you know, without us, the wider business community is not going to survive. So we need to know how to prepare ourselves. We need to know how to plan. We need to know where we're going to be positioned in place. There should be some kind of plan. BVI Port, Mr. Claude Skelton, the chairman, Mr. Ed DeCastro, you guys are the ones we depend on, security manager, you guys are the ones, and Damien don't have any answer. The taxi operators will like some kind of information. The cruise season is right around the corner. I believe the first ship is either the 23rd or the 24th. So we should know. We should have something in place by now so we could start preparing ourselves, because in addition to the work that Damien is doing, we ourselves have to prepare ourselves so we could be a part of this growing economy. Damien, we got a few minutes left. I heard you got something hot, exciting for the folks coming up. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to hit the call. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Hi, good, and a good evening to you.
Hey, I'm just here, like my boy Damien, go to work. You're doing a good job, man. The president is
You're talking so soft. What are you whispering for? Speak louder. Speak into the phone.
Man, I'm talking loud. I'm from Mr. Damien.
Okay.
Yes. Good evening.
Damien.
Uh-huh.
Good night, Mr. Damien. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. How are you?
I say you're doing a great job, man. I just want to recommend you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You sure you wasn't paid to say that?
No, I wasn't paid.
Okay, brother. How's the Sister Islands doing?
Everything is island over here.
This is what I'm talking about.
When a man doing a job and we can feel it present, we gotta tell him we can feel it present.
Give the money flowers while you're alive.
Yes, man.
Awesome.
Keep working for the taxi, man, eh?
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
And just how we do those training, we have to tweak this tariff.
Did you enjoy the fall session of the academy, though?
Yes, I did. It was nice.
That's good. Thank you very much.
And remember, we have to tweak this tariff because there's a lot of things in it need tweaking.
Well, you know, we always meet with you guys when you can come over and speak with us. So we always take all your thoughts, your comments, your feedback on the advisement.
Yes, Sam can tell you this tariff is a good start to work with, but it ain't forever. We have to tweak it.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, Carla.
All right, then. Take it.
Yes,
All right,
yes. Good looking out. Damien, real quick. I got a few minutes left. Medallion. A lot of people are concerned about that, especially the guys who want to retire with some kind of income. What's the progress on that?
The progress on the medallion is funny because I didn't know we made a statement public, but right now the commission is researching a medallion system. We're discussing it in-house, and that's where it is right now.
Well, you know, Damien, this is Speak Your Mind. When it comes to Speak Your Mind, people like to let us know what's happening throughout the territory. There's a lot to cover. I just want to say thanks a lot for coming in, you know, because we realize that subjects like this, it is hot. It's important. The people say they want more PR.
Right.
They want more understanding. They want better signage. They want shelters. They want proper lit bus service. They want reliable bus service. They want courteous bus drivers. They want clean and professional buses and bus drivers. And they want a proper, well-run, oil-regulated fare structure in place. And I know, I gotta agree with the caller just now, that I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
I think you're doing a good job. When you first came on board, you and I knock head. But, you know, I realize that you're doing your best with what you got. Any last comments before we go?
Well, lastly, I'd like to say thank you for inviting us to help us push our PR out there to bring the public's awareness as to the difference between the taxi and the livery. Also to let persons know what we're trying to accomplish at the Taxi and Livery Commission, and to hear persons' concerns, you know, what they would like to see different and how things are affecting them, because transportation affects everyone, and especially transportation for hire. You know, we speak a lot about the tourists, but we can't forget our local domestic customers, which are the local people who need to be moved every day, all day. That's extremely important to us at the Commission, and we like to let them know that we're working on their behalf.
Definitely.
And if they have any concerns, any input, they can just call the government switchboard, ask for the Taxi and Livery Commission, and, you know, we'll sit, we'll discuss, we'll take whatever they have to say on the advisement, because we welcome all ideas. We don't act like we know everything.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't remember nothing else, 494-3701. 494-3701. That's the government switchboard number. Right. Or 468-3701. Call that number, ask to be transferred. You can be asked to transfer to any department throughout the government system. ask to be transferred to the taxi livery
Commission.
down at Parkwood Pond. They have a secretary who will be happy to take your call, take your concerns, and issue out the other information. Is there any website?
No, we're currently working with the tourist board to be attached to the tourist board's website.
Working on a website. Mr. Vanderpool, they need some money to build their own website. We don't need to be attached to tourist board. Mr. Mark Vanderpool, Minister for Communication and Work, we together. They need a website. Taxi Livery Commission need their own website, their own way to communicate. They need a whole lot of stuff on that. So let's get that going. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring them back. We're going to bring them back. We're going to have others on the show. Tune in on the 11th, guys. On the 11th, we're going to have the Health Service Authority on screen. They're going to be here, pitching, selling, trying to do their best. And I think those guys have a good PR team. You listen to them, you hear them all the time. And so I want you guys to tune in on the 11th of next month. That's a very important thing. Health is very important. And we're gonna bombard them with all the questions like we did tonight, and all the comments and concerns that we have in this country that relates to our health. So please make sure you tune in. Tune into JTV any time of the week, any day of the week, any time of the night. We have a lineup of interesting programs. Again, there was a number of things that happened last week that we're about to show this week. We have tapes of pretty much everything that goes on in the house. The new bills that were passed that relates to prison. Prisoners, after 4 years or so, will be able to now apply for parole. We have the new balancing of the new law, as I call it, where men now can also apply to the court for child support. We also have some other important issues, so please make sure you tune in. You can start tuning in from tomorrow morning, 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, all the way through for the rest of the week. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, remember to keep it safe, keep it real, and always tune in to speak your mind. So we'll see you again.